Hello everyone and welcome to your Advective weather update for May 7th, 2023. We're talking about severe weather today. Let's jump right into what's currently happening. We have a line of storms stretching all the way from around southern Missouri all the way into places such as Virginia. Isolated severe thunderstorms are already popping up with new development there in the state of Illinois, especially on the southern side of the state, with isolated severe thunderstorms there to the east heading from Kentucky into Tennessee at this time. You'll also notice there a bit of a rain mass in the state of Texas that's moving out, and where we have that clearing to the west, that's where we're expecting some more severe thunderstorms to be possible. We also have a couple of isolated severe thunderstorms there in the state of Iowa as well. So lots going on the severe weather side today. We have a bit going on the fire and flooding side that we'll talk about briefly right about now. Let's talk about it here. You can see those two areas for severe thunderstorm risk. The one in Texas there, that's far larger than what you see here. We'll talk about that soon. And then our severe risk there to the north, that's about the same size, although it is extended a bit farther to the west now. The flooding risk there in the red there in the states of Iowa and Illinois, that includes Des Moines. And then we also have there in New Mexico, the northeastern side of things, a fire weather risk as well. We'll also notice here tomorrow that we do have a severe weather risk stretching from central Missouri through the St. Louis area into Illinois and stretching even a little bit into Indiana. And then finally, we do have a severe weather risk 3 days out, stretching from around the Texas and Oklahoma panhandles into places like Wichita, Kansas. So let's talk about the severe weather threats in a bit more detail now. We have an enhanced risk in and around Iowa today. That includes northern Missouri, that includes southeastern Nebraska, and northeastern Kansas. We have a slight risk in place for parts of Texas and southern Oklahoma as well today. We have a slight risk in place from the lower Missouri Valley into the upper Ohio Valley tomorrow, and you can see that rather clearly. That's rather large. And then a slight risk of severe thunderstorms for parts of Oklahoma and Kansas on Tuesday as well. So let's talk about today now in a bit more detail. Here is the main risk area, this one being the northern one. That's where isolated severe storms are already ongoing. We just talked about those. But the main round of severe thunderstorms will fire around 7 to 8 p.m. So this is going to be a late night into the overnight hours kind of event. So make sure that you have multiple ways to get weather alerts as we do head into the evening and overnight hours there. The big cities being Omaha and Des Moines there. Being impacted by this. Lincoln, Nebraska should also be watching out as well. The strongest storms will end by 4 a.m. However, severe storms will still be ongoing. So our storms will move through the enhanced risk area. So the eastern side of things stretching from around Milwaukee, Wisconsin to Springfield, Illinois to St. Louis, Paducah, Nashville, Tennessee. Those areas are going to be the areas that are going to have to watch for severe thunderstorms after 4 a.m. However, if you're in the enhanced risk or any point east of there, your threat will have pretty much ended by then. All hazards are going to be possible with storms today, including 80+ mile per hour wind gusts. Those can be destructive and extremely dangerous. So make sure that if you do hear winds of 80 miles per hour being a possibility of your location, or you hear the Weather Service talking about destructive severe thunderstorms, that you get to your safe place. Treat it as if it's a tornado warning. This could do damage of a moderate to strong tornado. So make sure that you're ready for that. Very large hail is also possible. That could cause damage to roofs, vehicles, things of that nature, so make sure that you're prepared for that as well. And maybe even a few tornadoes. We had a strong tornado yesterday near Linden, Missouri, so strong tornadoes can't be ruled out on days like today either. All right, let's talk about the outlooks here in a bit more detail. This is the hail outlook for today. You can see that hatched region stretching all the way from near Goodland, Kansas, all the way to Des Moines, Iowa, and through there. Now, the red region, that's where we see the possibility of hail in quite large coverage. This is where numerous severe thunderstorms with large hail are expected. The hatched region that is in and surrounding that is where the Storm Prediction Center believes that 2-inch diameter or greater hail is possible. And then around that, the slight risk there, level 2 out of 5 in the yellow, that's where scattered severe storms with large hail are possible. And then in the brown there, that is where a marginal risk, level 1 out of 5, is for severe hail. And severe hail, by definition, 1 inch or greater in diameter, but isolated severe thunderstorms within the marginal risk area. Let's move into the wind threat now. Another hatched risk there, stretching all the way from near Goodland, Kansas there, a bit to the east. And then that stretches all the way through, including Omaha and Des Moines again. But our primary enhanced risk for wind farther south than the previous one, getting near Kansas City there, but not quite within it. But northern Missouri there within that enhanced risk for wind. So is southern Iowa. So is northeastern Kansas and southeastern Iowa. Then our slight risk surrounds that. So the slight risk is from around Goodland, Kansas again, stretching all the way down through St. Louis, Missouri, Paducah, Kentucky, Nashville, Tennessee, And then we have our marginal risk surrounding that, isolated severe storms possible there. That does include Goodland, Kansas, North Platte, Nebraska, Springfield, Illinois, slight risk, but our marginal risk also includes Memphis, Tennessee, and Huntsville, Alabama. Let's talk about the tornado threat there. A couple of tornadoes possible there in the Brown region at level 2 out of 5 slight risk. That includes Omaha and Des Moines. And then we do have our marginal risk surrounding that. That's where 1 or 2 tornadoes could occur. That's for Hastings, Springfield, areas like that. So a couple of tornadoes today, but the primary threats are going to be strong winds and large hail for sure. Let's take a look at weather model data. You can see the storms that are already ongoing this morning as we move through the forecast period, and then more storms developing. But storms really begin to pop up again as we head into the late afternoon, evening hours, 7 to 8 p.m. Then they congeal into a line. That's why we do have our main wind threat there. And then they begin to move southward, and that's where our after 4 a.m. severe threat is going to come from. So again, you'll notice there's some storms firing throughout the day, but our main storms begin to fire here around 7, 8 p.m. And then they're going to move on through, become particularly strong as they move through the state of Iowa, northern Missouri, places like that. And then it's going to move southward, shift southward, and that's where our overnight threat for severe storms that aren't going to be quite as strong will come from. Let's talk about the forecast there for Texas and southern Oklahoma now. Severe storms will likely fire around 4 to 5 p.m. and they will be scattered in coverage. Yesterday we talked about isolated severe storms. It is looking like there are going to be more storms than initially anticipated. That's why that severe risk has been extended significantly southward as well. The threat will have diminished by midnight, but the possibility of damaging winds and very large hail is definitely there. Let's break that down in a bit of detail. So that hatched region, that's where the threat of very large hail is. If you're in the yellow, that means that isolated to scattered severe storms with large hail are possible. That includes Del Rio, stretching through San Angelo, Abilene, and even Wichita Falls. And again, our largest hail will be from that corridor between San Angelo and Wichita Falls. Then we have that marginal risk there, level 1 out of 5, where isolated storms capable of producing large hail are located, and that's going to include San Antonio, Austin, Waco, Dallas, Fort Worth, places of that nature, stretching all the way into Texarkana, Monroe, Louisiana, places like that. Here's our wind threat. This is a bit confined to the north there, but anywhere from Abilene to Wichita Falls in that corridor, you are within a hatched region for wind. That's where destructive winds greater than hurricane force are possible. The yellow region is that level 2 out of 5 risk for severe storms. So that's scattered coverage for strong winds, 60 miles per hour or greater. The marginal risk in the brown there, level 1 out of 5. That's where we are expecting isolated severe storms with strong winds, although again, coverage will be pretty low within that region. Let's talk about the tornado threat. Good news, no tornado threat anywhere within this risk region. So again, tornadoes not really a concern today, although I can't rule out 1 or 2 occurring somewhere within the region, but the threat looks pretty low. All right, let's talk about the weather models for this. You'll notice that we don't have too many storms going on that are severe, although we do start to see storms fire around 4 or 5 p.m. These become a bit more scattered in coverage now than what was expected yesterday, but you'll notice they still begin to fizzle out around midnight, 1 a.m. So again, this isn't going to be much of an overnight threat, but again, we still could see isolated severe thunderstorms throughout the day, heading into the evening hours tonight. And again, very large hail and destructive winds are some threats today. Let's talk about tomorrow's forecast now. Forecast confidence is very low for tomorrow, so things could change, but severe thunderstorms will likely be ongoing in the morning due to the remnants of yesterday's activity. That line that we saw moving southward as we talk into today's activity, that's going to really linger into tomorrow and move through our slight risk region that we see there. But we will see renewed development within the slight risk region as well around 4 to 5 p.m., and that's going to be moving from north to south, not east to west, so make sure that you're prepared for that. And these storms will bring with them strong winds, large hail, and perhaps a tornado or 2. So that's what we're looking at there when it comes to this, and the threat of severe storms will diminish by midnight. Again, confidence is low here. Would not be shocked to see an enhanced risk introduced for wind at some point tomorrow. All right, let's talk about things now in a bit more detail. The hail and wind outlooks look about the same, so I'm just going to go over both of them here. A slight risk there of scattered large hail and damaging winds stretching all the way from around the St. Louis area all the way down to just north of Memphis, Tennessee. That also includes places like Evansville. That includes central Kentucky, Paducah, Kentucky within that risk as well. Jonesboro, Arkansas also within that risk. And again, that risk remains pretty much the same between hail and strong wind outlooks. And then when it comes to the tornado threat, you'll notice there that we do have a possibility of tornadoes stretching all the way from St. Louis towards Indianapolis, Indiana, places a bit farther south. All right, let's take a look now at the model here for storms on Monday. And what we'll notice is those lines of storms from the morning, those are going to die down before we do see storms fire back up into the afternoon and evening hours. And again, these are going to be strong wind and large hail producers as they do move on through with time. So that's the main threat. And again, a tornado or two, a possibility, especially with the beginning of storm development. But as we move into the evening and overnight hours, tornado development becomes less and less likely. So again, strong winds, large hail, the primary threats with this. Would not be shocked to see an upgrade to a level 3 out of 5 enhanced risk for strong winds as we move into tomorrow. All right, let's talk about now the forecast for 3 days out. This is Tuesday. Isolated severe storms producing damaging winds and large hail are a possibility, with the threat being from 3 p.m. to 12 a.m. We don't really have too much more to say here, and the reason for that is because there isn't too much going on here. Marginal risk there along the East Coast, another marginal risk there in the northern plains, but again, our primary threat of severe thunderstorms there stretching from around the Oklahoma and Texas panhandles into southern Kansas, including places like Wichita. So that's what we're looking at for severe storms 3 days out. Here's the probabilistic outlook. Again, our level 1 and 2 out of 5 is depicted there, but the level 1 is a 5 to 14% chance of a severe thunderstorm happening within 25 miles of you, and then our level 2 is when you have a 15 to 29% chance of a severe storm happening within 25 miles of you. Let's take a look at weather models here. We're only going to look at our primary threat region here, and you'll notice storms fire. That's around 4 p.m. And then those remain and start to fizzle out as we head into the overnight hours. We'll really have a better grip on this tomorrow. We'll make another video tomorrow if we do have an upgrade to an enhanced risk for either of these days, although I don't anticipate one for Tuesday, but I could see one for tomorrow. All right, the final thing I want to talk about here is that a 5-day severe weather risk has been issued. So this is for Thursday, and this stretches all the way from around North Platte, Nebraska to around Amarillo, Texas. So this is rather significant. The Storm Prediction Center doesn't normally issue stuff quite this far out, but stretching all the way from around Goodland, Kansas, North Platte, Nebraska, all the way down through Dodge City, Kansas, Amarillo, Texas, a slight risk, level 2 out of 5 for severe storms has already been issued. First things first, things are going to change here. So make sure that you are weather aware and beginning to plan if you're in these areas. All hazards are on the table. That's strong winds, large hail, and tornadoes. And again, we'll know more as we get closer to this event. Finally, start planning now. Speaking of planning, you can actually watch our severe weather preparation video on Advective weather, link in the description, in order to plan for the severe weather event coming up. You'll also know how to prepare and act as severe weather moves into your region as well. With that being said, thank you so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, you can hit the like button down below. If you really liked it and want to see more content like this, you can hit the subscribe button to tell us we're doing something right. You can join our Discord server, link in the description as well, to chat with myself and the rest of the Advective Weather crew. And if you have any feedback for us, you can leave a comment down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video.